Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Linfield Coaches CatChat. Joe Stewart here with head Linfield football coach Joseph Smith. The week of round 3 of the NCAA playoffs. You guys are getting ready to host the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor Crusaders coming to town this week. How you feeling? How's it feeling after the big playoff win in round 2? And seems like a great time of year for the group right now as they are kind of getting things rolling here in the postseason.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. You know, anytime I think you're playing in the playoffs, that's a great time, and certainly our guys have worked hard to get into the position that they're in, and I think we've developed through the course of the season to earn the right to go stand before great teams, and guys are doing that. We're pretty excited to be here. So
65-3, the score there at the end of the day last Saturday, as you guys were able to get the second round win to start your playoff bout, is the most points scored by any team in the postseason here through the first couple of rounds. One of the widest margin of victories of any team, obviously, here through the first couple of rounds. Were you expecting it to be that dominant of a performance out of the group? And just what was kind of the energy for this team as they took the field and ready to more than take care of business on Saturday?
Right. TLU was a good football team in terms of, I did not expect, the score to be that lopsided. That was a good football team we played. I do think our team was quite ready to play, and interesting how you handle bye weeks and all of those. Just very interesting. First time I'd ever known who we were going to play in the playoffs for 2 weeks and had a chance to heal. I think you can always look back at how you played and say, did we prepare well enough? Was that the right thing to do? The decision that we made, how you spend your time is so important. How you use those resources. And I think we, looking back, did a good job of preparing the team. The guys were ready to play. They were dialed in. That first half was as clean of a first half as our program has possibly ever played. I mean, it was outstanding in all 3 phases. I really saw maybe we missed a field goal or had to settle for a field goal. There was a few things like that. But, guys played great in all 3 phases, and they were ready to play. So the vibe was right. Guys were hungry. I was a little worried about the time off. You always are as a coach because it breaks your rhythm. But we needed that. We were healthy and played pretty fast on Saturday.
Well, plenty of rhythm for Blakey in this passing offense on Saturday as he put up in just 30 minutes of play, one of the best games of his career with over 290 yards and 5 touchdowns in that first half. What's that connection like? What's it been like watching that connection between him and this group of receivers? Obviously a very veteran group, but guys that didn't get to play a lot. We've talked about this throughout the course of the year, but this group right now of kind of the passing offense in particular seems to be hitting a stride that we haven't really seen throughout the course of the season. Numbers have been there, guys have popped, but as a cohesive unit, it seemed like Saturday was their peak performance of the season.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably the case. What I like about this year's offense is it's pretty complete in terms of a lot of ways we can find to hopefully move the football. There's a lot of options there, as there has been, every year. But so I almost feel like every game's been a little different in terms of where we have found maybe the mismatches or the matchups, so to speak. And on Saturday, at times when they gave us kind of the matchups that were favorable, we were able to take advantage of that. And as you mentioned, I thought the receivers had probably their best game of the year as a group, obviously. And although Wolf's had a couple of really good ones as of late. And so I think as you mentioning that timing takes time to get great connections and great time with quarterbacks and receivers, and not just practice but in games. And I think you're seeing that play out, and hopefully that can continue.
You think about Connor's 2 early touchdowns. It took 3 plays for you guys to get those first couple of touchdowns. McLean with the first multi-receiving touchdown game of his career. Jacob Slifka had the big moments as well. What does it do for a team on the sidelines, energy-wise? Obviously, you said these guys are ready to come out and play, but when a team gets to see their senior leaders light it up into big moments like that, does that just motivate everybody that much more?
I'm not exactly sure how that plays out, I suppose, but you're probably right. I've never thought of it like that. But certainly when they see guys that they respect do well, I think that's huge. And both those young men you mentioned have the team's respect for just the things they've gone through and the kind of people they are. So those two are great teammates, and it's fun. I think the team loves to see those guys have success.
Switching gears to the defense, obviously big physical domination, allowing just 3 points and less than 200 yards for Texas Lutheran last week. With that group, as they physically dominate, how key is that to this point in the season when you're going up? Even TLU, those were some solid-sized guys on the offensive line, and they really kept that run game in particular contained up front, and that was what TLU's done well all season long. Mm-hmm. What do you like about how that group is particularly up front playing right now?
Well, in every game, I not every game, but for the vast majority of games, I think how the lines play dictates so much. If you're losing up front, it's very difficult. You can still move the ball, but it's hard. And so, having that defensive line control the line of scrimmage is the recipe for every game. If we can do that, we'll never lose if those guys control the line of scrimmage every game. So, I think any good team can say that. So I think, as that D line plays, that dictates how the linebackers have to play, which then dictate how the secondary has to play, which can leave you vulnerable, and things like that. So when you see a team, control a team to 3 points, it's really every level's doing it. The D-line's doing it. The linebackers are doing it. The game plan's great. Coach Vaughn and his staff have done a phenomenal job of game planning teams, and as a program we were locked in, and I think that's kind of what you see is it's good scheme combined with good talent and the guys being ready to go and then executing the plan at a high level. And defense did that very, very nicely.
And we've talked all year about how the front has complemented the back end of the defense. And we saw that again. Chance Sparks took down the 4th career pick six for his time here at Linfield, becoming the program's all-time leader in that category. Kenyon Johnson also had a terrific game. Those two cornerbacks, what have they done to really complement each other throughout the course of the year on the back end? And particularly, Chance, he's kind of seemed to be like the big play guy, and Kenyon, he just seems to have been locking dudes up. What kind of combination have they provided to eliminate so many teams' top passing attacks? Well, you're just right. The taking away the big plays and just having good solid coverage. You got to have it every down, on the secondary, because you don't know when the ball is coming. So it's not like you can only be good on 3 plays. You got to be good on every play, much like a pitcher in baseball. So I think those guys have just been so consistent, and I think that's when you look at KJ, he's so consistent with what he does, and he's rarely out of balance, rarely out of position, and has good poise on the football, and of course Chance is doing that as well, and Chance has a nose for the football. I think he's a tremendous offensive player. He'd be, the same kind of stats. I think if he was playing offense all the time, he's quite a difficult cover. So he's just a great athlete, and so he's extremely dangerous when he gets the ball in his hands. So looking ahead to this week, Mary Hardin-Baylor, over the last 20 years or so, this has almost become a little bit one of the premier postseason rivalries in the western half of D3 football, certainly. We go all the way back to, of course, the 2004 national championship. You guys beat them in that game, and it's gone back and forth. Mary Hardin-Baylor's kind of carried the series over the last handful of years, handful of matchups after you guys dominated kind of the first half of it. With a team like the Crusaders coming into town, they're going to be visiting McMinnville for the first time since 2015. Does this feel like even more of a big game than a usual playoff matchup? This group, some of those guys that were seniors were on that 21 team that lost to them in Belton, or does this just feel like another playoff matchup where these guys will take on whoever's in front of them? Well, I hope it's the latter, in terms of I hope we'll take on whoever's in front of us, and our guys will. Our guys compete. That's something that I love about this program is our guys will compete, and they'll run to the battle. So I don't have any doubt with that, but without question, this is a great matchup. This is one of the best programs in all of Division III, and anyone that thinks they're not is clueless. So they're a great football team, super well coached. They've got tremendous athletic administration. It's really fun to play them, even at their place, just because it's so nice. It's a great experience. Other than they're such a tough foe, but they do it right. Mary Hardin-Baylor won't cheat. They don't try to get an advantage with little things like maybe some teams in the Midwest might do, but they don't do any of that. But these guys are above board. They're high character guys, and they play hard, and so they certainly got our attention, and I know we've got theirs. So
It's going to be a great game.
It's sure to be a physical game as well. This is a team with a lot of size, a lot of speed. We've seen what they can do defensively and on special teams this year. With a team that plays at that level of physicality, is there a way to prepare for that on a week-to-week basis, or is that just something that you hope that this program has been thinking enough about, not necessarily Mary Hardin-Baylor, but playing physical opponents throughout the course of the season, that the team is going to be ready for that time of matchup, regardless of finding out who is going to be this week?
Right. You know, and in all fairness, you know, you get to this round or, you know, every subsequent round from here, they're all going to be like that. Maybe the first round or two isn't, you know, depending on your bracket. But sometimes it is, you know, maybe every team's that way. But we've been preparing, we hope, for playoff caliber physicality since day one. That's one reason why we wanted to play Oshkosh. Certainly, you know, Mary Hardin-Baylor's the same level of physicality as they were, and they gave us some problems, you know. So, you know, we know that, and yet we gave them some problems too. So I think it's going to be a pretty equal battle there, and I would hope that playing good teams allows you to prepare that way. But so like maybe some of the Montana NAI schools, you know, you play those teams, that gives you that taste of size, because you're just not going to see it in your regular conference games. And I don't think anyone does, because you get in the playoffs, you're playing conference champions. You're not playing, you know, the second place teams.
Exciting to see how the team does this weekend. Going to be a great game here in McMinnville as the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor Crusaders come to town for the third round of the NCAA postseason. Wildcats looking to keep rolling and advance to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2021. We'll have full live coverage exclusively on ESPN Plus, as the entire D3 slate will be broadcast there. 12 o'clock kickoff here from McMinnville in the Cat Dome. Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.